Welcome, guys. We're just going to get started here. Let some people join, get the host in. But thanks for stopping by.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You sound great.
Yeah, sure.
All right, perfect. Hey, Nahid.
Hey, hello. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Having a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. It's early there, yeah.
My favorite thing, coffee.
Yeah, right. What would we be without coffee?
I'd be in bed, my friend. That's where I would be.
True.
For starters, that's for sure.
Oh, awesome. Michael, you want to co-host and Nahid and me, please? It'll help if the internet tends to go wacky.
Yeah.
How are you, Nahid?
Yep, doing well. Already had my 2 coffees today, It's quite almost 18 here in Central European time, But doing well.
You only have 2 coffees a day?
Yes, only 2. I don't go beyond, unless I'm training on that day, I don't go beyond 2 coffees.
Now, you mean like, I don't know what the European measurement would be to gallons, but that's what size your coffees are, right?
Oh, possibly not.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I'm done with my coffee for the day too. I don't drink it for the I'll have like a cup later this evening, but like a cup in the morning, a cup during Cardano over the coffee show, and then usually during dinner I like to have a cup. Just I don't know. I like to taste the coffee.
All right. Interesting. I just have one in the morning, one after lunch. That's it. Not after 3 p.m. Usually on a daily basis.
You guys don't want me. I don't even want to talk about my coffee habit after you guys. Mine is terrible. Like if I go to a coffee house, I'm getting like 6 espresso shots and 1 drink.
Well, that's definitely a lot. But you hear, do you not lose like sleep? Like, does your sleep doesn't suffer from having coffee after like midday or something like that?
I can drink an espresso and go to bed.
Wow, you're immune to caffeine. I don't want to say late in the evening for me, right? But I'm a late go to bedder. Like I go to bed around 1 a.m. and then I'm back up around 6 a.m. So like 5 hours of sleep is all I kind of live off of. Now, there is days that I'll take a nap in the middle of the day because I'm an old man. So that's legal.
I also think so. If you guys can, let's retweet the space and let's see if we can get some more people in here.
Yeah, I've just retweeted it. That's what I was doing as we were talking. We're going to get started here, and we'll give it another 2 minutes. We'll start, another minute now, and we'll do a little brief introduction to Drunken Dragon Entertainment, and then we'll take any questions. I know I've talked to them. I was just recently looking through all my audio files that I have saved from interviews that I've done, and it was a while ago. You were on Cardano over a coffee, so you've actually been around for quite a while. It's good to like kind of talk to you again and hear back. And I've been following along regardless, but it's always good to talk to people.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I like to think we're some of the OGs in the Cardano space. I mean, our first mint was like, I think maybe 2 years ago. And yeah, we're still here building, trying to push. But yeah, that I remember that time in Cardano over coffee. That was a lot of fun. It's always nice to speak with you.
Yeah, it's always good to learn what people are up to, and you guys definitely have been up to a lot. So it's definitely good to hear that you're still out there. November 17th of 2022 was the day that you were on Cardano over coffee, sir.
And I believe there's one like even before, like maybe, I don't
Yeah,
know, for how long have you been doing Cardano over coffee, by the way?
August 15th will be 2 years, my friend. 2 years.
Okay, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
we're getting ready to celebrate that. And, you know, it's been a long road, but I'll tell you what, I've learned so much from talking to people like you guys and how you go about building things. Like the education that I have on Cardano has come from interviewing people, not so much like reading or writing or all that. It's come from talking to people.
And
Yeah,
that's yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I'll just double down on that. When I went to CNFT Con last year, I learned so much just walking around and talking to all the project owners and all the enthusiastic people. Like, I think that's where the real communication happens.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. So here, actually, so you said you've learned a lot, right, through this almost 2 years. So I'm just wondering, like, what would you say are the top one, two, or three, the top three like lessons maybe you can think of right now that you've gotten from while doing this?
Oh, man, top 3 lessons. Don't trust anyone. But that goes with everything in blockchain, right? I want to say my biggest lesson came from having somebody who was a rug pull that I didn't think was going to be a rug pull, and then all of a sudden they pulled the rug on their NFT project, right? That taught me a lot. That's probably one lesson. Another lesson is just the inner workings of how Cardano works, right? How Ouroboros works. I've learned so much on that side because that's always been a really weak point of mine. I'm not the builder, right? I'm the talker. Uh, but I've learned so much from talking to people like Barry and, you know, people from like Opshine and Aiken and all of that. So that learning the technicals of what is actually there and what the weak points are of Cardano and what we need to do to improve that. And a lot of that has come along over the 2 years. So probably my top 2 lessons.
No, that's fair. Yeah, the trust one, that's definitely one. I mean, in such a wild, and I guess is one of the taxes of being free, right? So I'm definitely a bit of a libertarian, but when you have all this freedom to build and create and share and say, definitely there's always those who will take advantage on that, right? So it's a sad tax that we probably have to pay for freedom. But yeah, and besides that, I also personally think that there's probably a lot of projects which genuinely wanted to build something, but as soon as they got the money and they were in the position of now having the responsibility to actually build, they probably backed off, right? Because, like being an entrepreneur or just taking the leadership of a project is scary, man. Like everyone looking up to you, or trying to recruit the talent and actually make things happen. It's not for everyone. So I don't know what percentage of like rug pulls are actually malicious from the
We're bad
start.
business.
Yeah, or they're just bad business. Yeah, exactly. Which is probably a lot are bad business. I mean, just in outside of crypto, of course, there's like businesses starting and failing all the time, right? And that's gonna keep happening inside and outside crypto.
Yeah, it's an abnormal amount, right? In the first 2 years of a business, it's like 92% or some crazy number fell, and that just comes with planning and things. But we're gonna just do a little quick reset here, and we're gonna do a quick brief introduction to everybody that's up here talking. We're gonna introduce Drunken Dragon. We're gonna talk about, I think, the catalyst proposal is what I want to kind of get into, and then just kind of talk to them. And then if anybody has any questions, we'll field those questions. I'm Brian Hero Pool. Most of you guys know me. I'm co-host or host of Cardano Over Coffee with my amazing team there. I've been a stake pool operator. I'm a World Mobile Token node operator, Genius Yield ambassador, Cardano ambassador, all around boring guy because all I do is Cardano. So that's my life. Behind the Genius,
a real hero.
I'm also a volunteer fireman too, so that's part of my life also. I'm pretty big.
Oh, okay. No, then that you're really a hero, man. Thank you for your service.
Nah, I'm not a hero. I'm just a guy that drives a truck, my friend. But I do what I can. So we have Michael behind the GeniusX account. Michael, why don't you give yourself a brief introduction, sir?
Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good day. I am the head of community and GeniusX. You might know me as Low Tech Viking.
Low Tech Viking in the house. And then we have Nahid with us. Nahid, how are you today, sir?
Yep, I mean, great to be again in the space here. I'm a program manager at GeniusX, and we have had already a couple of sessions before, and also looking forward to have an interesting and interactive session also today here with all of you and also with the participants here.
Yeah, well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And if you can do me a favor, tweet out the space, give it a little down there in that little chat bubble. Give me a little gif on how you're feeling today. I'm feeling a little amped up and ready to go. We're gonna jump right into it. Drunken Dragon Entertainment. Please, sir, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the whole story, because you've been around for a while and most people probably have heard of you, but I'm sure there's some that haven't.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things we've always struggled with was like marketing. We're more builders than speakers sometimes. But so we're Drunken Dragon Entertainment, and our project is Drunken Dragon Universe. I'm Francisco Aramburo, also known as Vlerik in at least in our space. And yeah, I'm the founder of Drunken Dragon Entertainment. So Drunken Dragon Entertainment as a company started when I created the D&D or Drunken Dragon pool. And that was like almost 2 years ago, probably a bit more. So Shelly wasn't like, it was like brand new. And I wanted to figure out a way to incentivize people to get into the pool, right? So that's when I actually drew the first pixel tiles and started minting them and offering them as a reward. I did a raffle I believe every 5 days. I think it was like with the epoch. And yeah, so that's how it started, and it started evolving, right? I'm personally, my background is in functional programming, so, and also I'm very I'm a person that really wants to make a positive impact in the world, right? So that combination took me to Cardano, and through this whole adventure of creating the pool, creating the first NFTs, and then having the idea of, or at least I ask myself, how can blockchain impact an industry that I love? And I'm in love with the entertainment industry, right? I'm a fantasy fan. So besides programming, besides blockchain, I also love things like, The Lord of the Rings, League of Legends, Warcraft. And one of the things that we suffer a lot in this space is actually from centralization. The IPs that we love, or that people who are really fan of fantasy love, are normally controlled by big corporations, right? So, for example, I love the Warcraft franchise, and they're owned by Blizzard, which has really decayed through the years. Or, for example, I also love The Lord of the Rings, but of course, Tolkien is no longer with us, and the IP hasn't had any real development over the last years, except for Amazon, probably, which on my eyes didn't do great, right? I'm also a fan of Star Wars, which was bought of course, by Disney. And Disney has also done a bit, you know, I wouldn't say great. Actually, Disney actually pissed on all the fans because with Star Wars, what we used to have was the extended universe, and it had a lot of extra lore and amazing products. And when Disney bought Star Wars, they actually decanonized the whole extended universe and started limiting the license um, compared to what was before. So I think that's terrible. Like um, us fans, we suffer a lot from decentralization. Um, we invest not just our time and our money into these products, we also invest our emotions. And when big corporations they focus on profit, they don't necessarily create the best fantasy. But also individual or indie creators, they also suffer from this because having access to a big IP can really define your career as an artist, as a indie video game creator, etc. And they of course don't have like access or easy access to these franchises. And I think one of the things that I love about blockchain is this promise of cooperation and of unity. It's like things are of no one and of everyone at the same time, right? So I think that if we had a fantasy franchise which was no one's but everyone's at the same time, which was of free access, of open access to all the indie creators, and also if the fans had a voice and a vote on how the franchise develops, then that would be amazing, right? We will create a lot of opportunities for indie creators, and also fans will have a safe place to invest their time, their money, and their emotions. So that's what we're trying to create. The Drunken Dragon universe is what we call a decentralized fantasy franchise or decentralized intellectual property. What we're creating is the first products of a fantasy universe where the core IP is of open use. Like anyone can take the IP and do whatever product they want. Like if you wanted right now to commercialize like some t-shirts or create a video game on top of the IP, we wouldn't. It's Creative Commons, right? But the fans, we're creating also a governance on top of that using the power of blockchain to enable fans to actually vote on what product should become official. And we also want to create a marketplace where all the indie creators, they can actually propose or take their products and show them to the fans and request for approval of becoming official. And within the marketplace, if the product becomes official, then it gets published and sold through the decentralized marketplace. And for the fans, this is also super cool because you'll have like this single place to consume all Drunken Dragon things. It will be the equivalent to like, let's say Disney Plus, but not just video content, also like video games and physical merchandise, etc. So everything Drunken Dragon, right? And we hope to create this fantasy franchise which actually grows organically because the best products that fans actually want start being created and being financed by the governance itself. Because in our governance, we want to actually add a decentralized treasury, something like Project Catalyst, in which it gets funded by the transactions of the decentralized marketplace, and then the fans can actually, vote to invest or fund projects that the indie creators want to create about the Drunken Dragon universe, of course. So that's the project.
Whew. That's a lot, right? And I love some keywords in there: decentralization, indie artists, people who don't have a big say will have some say, right? And that's what I really like about what you're trying to build. Tell me, you have some catalyst proposals out there. Can you talk a little bit about what those are and what you're trying to achieve with those?
Yeah, definitely. So the catalyst proposals will help us fund some of the projects that we have planned for this year and spanning up to the next year. So of course, our first product to actually give birth to the fantasy franchise is our game and the thing that everyone knows us for. Drunken Dragon Instant Quest is a adventure and tavern management game, and there's like some really cool role-playing aspects we're adding to it. We actually want to innovate a bit on that side. We're also fans of role-playing, and there's some really cool things that we have planned and that you can see in two of the proposals. So we basically planned a lot of systems that we want to add to the game and which have come from the feedback of our current community. And we subdivided these systems into this like dependency tree, so that we know what we can start introducing first. And as part of our culture, we build and deploy immediately. The game is currently in mainnet already in a simpler form, but as soon as we implement the systems, we'll be deploying constantly and continuously. So two of our proposals are to develop a subset of these systems that will basically start making our game not just interesting, but fun, and hopefully start as soon as we create the minimum basic gameplay, we hope to start attracting people from outside crypto as well. We definitely want to be one of those projects which people say, I got into crypto because I got into this project, right? And that's two of the proposals, and we have other two. The other two are, well, the first one is for our comics. We actually created the first volume of a comic series called The Death Queen. It's a story of three female adventurers within our universe. And again, we created a comic because we want to bootstrap our universe and start telling the first stories and start having the first Creative Commons and open decentralized IP, right? So we want to keep working on those to start attracting more and more fantasy fans. So that's the third proposal. And finally, the fourth proposal is to actually start creating the decentralized marketplace that I mentioned. So we want to start building the simpler first version one of the marketplace, and with that proposal, that will help complement the funding that we need to keep pushing on that side, right?
Yeah, and I have a question on that one particularly, mostly because that's the one you left off on, right? Can you tell me how much you're asking for in that proposal, or do you know a roundabout amount? And I just want to say that I don't think any of your amounts are highly outrageous, the amounts that you're asking for on any of the proposals.
Yeah, definitely. So we're sticking within the limits that Project Catalyst requested. For the systems ones, so that's two proposals. Each proposal, we're asking for 60,000 ADA. For the marketplace one, we're asking for 75,000 ADA, which is actually the maximum we could request there, but which I still think was like proper. And for the comic one, I can't remember the exact amount, but it's less. I think it's around 30,000 ADA.
I want to say I think 40 off the top of my head. I walked away from my computer, but I think it was 40.
Okay, yeah, I will say that's correct. Yeah.
So, what will let's say you get voted, all of them get voted through. What will the community get out of voting yes on these proposals?
Well, for the systems ones, for the two that the proposals are about the systems that we want to create for the game, they will start seeing from month 2, actually. From month 2, they're actually going to start seeing version upgrades on the game. So the game will start getting more and more complex and more fun. So we're actually introducing the basic systems needed to create a more dynamic world within our game. So in our game, you basically interact by having your tavern with your adventurers, and you send them into quests. That's the basic game loop and the basic mechanic. But with the systems that we want to implement, we will be doing, to start off, a simple simulation of the world that is happening behind. And we basically will be the dungeon masters of a greater role-playing experience. And our servers will be actually simulating the world, like, monster populations, factions, and factions from, what are their intentions to what are requesting players, etc. And from all this simulation, the quests that you get in the game will be dynamic. So you'll get quests that people in the simulation actually want to pay for. And also the quests that you do will affect the simulation. So there's this constant feedback loop in which the world is actually changing because of your actions. So that's like the basic. One of the proposals goes all around making sure that the simulation, we can build that simulation, and that we can start building events on top of that one. Because one of the things we want to do is that through this simulation, we start like actually role playing around it. We're gonna create some Discord and Twitter bots, and everything that is going on within the simulated universe, the bot will start like publishing it, like, as in within role, like they'll start, gossiping around what's going on in the world. So it's like a social media extended role-playing experience. Also, you'll get like a notion of what's going on in the world because of the quest that you're getting and the things that people are actually requesting you to do. And not every quest will take you like one way. There's going to be quests which will allow you to choose on which direction you want to push the world around you to. So for example, when we start having events, like let's say there's an undead invasion, you can actually there's going to be some quests that you'll get from maybe some factions that are actually supporting that. So there's going to be some players, like, for example, trying to defeat the undeads, and some players that will actually try to support the undeads, right? And what we want to eventually create is seasons within the game, in which each season ends in a race to kill a final boss or decide the outcome of a final great event. So, for example, if on this hypothetical event have a Lich King as a leader, maybe some players want to actually kill it, and some players want to help him, steal the magical orb within the city that he was invading for. And players will be able to take their ins and ally with each other through a guild system, and they'll try to make a race. The guilds will try to race to actually be the first ones to defeat or to support the final boss, and only one guild will be able to do that. And to that guild, will make sure to reward handsomely. They're gonna get, unique NFTs. They're gonna get unique rewards within the game, a lot of reputation, but also they'll be able to decide what happens next in this role-playing experience, right? So with these two proposals, you'll see that we'll start deploying month by month test versions and final versions of these systems that will enable each part which I'm describing right now. And of course, with the comic one, we'll be publishing, progress on the comic, and of course, at the end, we will publish the comic. And for the marketplace, we also will be publishing intermediate versions of how things going, or reporting on the actual progress. So for example, one of the things we already have on our game is a pre-prod deployment, and that's where we push all of our test versions and where we test things before going to mainnet. And we'll have something similar for the marketplace, so that people can actually see how the progress is going. So we actually take a risky position on trying to be as open as possible on our development process. So we actually push a lot of incomplete and test versions to pre-prod first, right? And we try to deploy continuously and small improvements, so that there's like a constant feedback loop between our community and us. And even though it's a bit risky, because of course it's gonna feel it feels incomplete, right? Instead of waiting 5 years for a product to be finished and make it feel actually complete, we try to push constantly. And through those 5 years, of course, you're gonna get things which feel incomplete, but you're gonna actually get things. You don't need to wait 5 years, and we don't need to wait 5 years for the feedback of the community, right? And I iterate. So I think that's a great way to build. And with the Project Catalyst funding, we'll just keep on that loop, stay on that loop, which is also beneficial for when you're being funded by Project Catalyst, because you actually we're able to push intermediate or incomplete versions, so that people, the community, the Cardano community, can actually see what's happening, and basically what we're creating with Cardano's money, right? With our money that is being unlocked through Project Catalyst.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I pinned some stuff to the top also. There was a piece of the comic, and just some pictures of some taverns that people have done, and the Herald Post, just in case people want to learn more, if you're intrigued by what Drunken Dragon has going on. Nahid, where do you see yourself as helping with Drunken Dragon, and where do you see that this whole game going? I love RPGs, and I've been a role-playing game person since I was a little kid, so I love it.
Yeah, actually, great question. We have actually having a call with Drunken Dragon with for a long time. I mean, we have had a couple of discussions with Francisco on kind of strategy, and also like what can be the way out of the current market situation. As you know, Drunken Dragon is our accelerator program, and also previously we had ISPO, and also that's where basically we also had interactions there. And we have, for all startups that are basic in our program, we have catch-up calls. Sometimes it's just to catch up, to see what's going on even without any specific need, just to, understand and just come together. And maybe during this discussion, you will have some kind of fruitful ideas that can come out of the discussion. And also sometimes we see that there are certain needs or some questions that are coming from both sides. And then we have again calls there, and then we do kind of brainstorming, and, basically we try to find a solution together. And I remember we had a discussion also previously, I think it was last month. I was back then in Netherlands, and we had a discussion with Francisco on kind of one of the ways that they can go forward. And I remember we discussed a couple of options there, and definitely one of them was this catalyst programs, and I mean proposals. And I'm glad that they wanted to test it, and they wanted to basically write down their ideas there. I mean, for which they wrote down their proposals, and for which ideas they need their help from community and from the basically a project catalyst. And I am glad that it's kind of also an experience for us. And there is, to my knowledge, no one is doing on Cardano block space at what we are doing, at least providing the service and kind of providing the guidance. It doesn't mean that we are the best or we know all the solutions. That's not true. But we try something together with the startups so that we can increase. I always say, also in the beginning you said that the startups are usually failing. That's true. 90% of regular startups are failing. I believe the failure ratio in blockchain area is even higher because that's a new space. And, it's kind of experience for us also. And we are experiencing it together. And personally, I definitely learn a lot. And it's a new thing that we do together. And I'm glad that I am part of it, and we are contributing, and we are doing it together.
Hey, we all need friends, right? Otherwise, we'd get nowhere in life, and that's just the truth, both in blockchain and outside of blockchain. We can lean on each other. You have expertise, they have expertise, and you can call on it together when you get stuck in a situation. So if there's anybody down there that has any questions, please feel free to request. You can come up and ask Drunken Dragon Entertainment any questions that you have. Anything else anybody wants to touch base on before we get to any questions? No? Great. So do we have any questions down there? I don't see anybody coming up yet, but I'm going to make Epoch. I'm going to call Epoch out. You need to come up and ask a question because I know you're an RPG player. So I'm looking forward to what this may come if you get the funding, right? Because I'm interested in definitely playing the game in a more depth and exciting way. And for those that don't know, role-playing games bring masses, could technically bring masses. And I've been saying this for a while. I think gaming is the kickoff to the next bull run. But shh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe while someone actually has a question, or maybe Epoch, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah. Just a quick question. First of all, thanks for being transparent about all of this stuff and for working with Catalyst. That all sounds great. I'm with Hero and love RPGs and have been doing that since I was a kid. But I'm kind of curious, if the Catalyst proposals don't pan out, or if you don't get funded, are you going to keep building some of those things? Because it kind of sounded all very interesting to me. And I'm just kind of wondering what's kind of the main roadmap versus the Catalyst infused roadmap. Is it the same or is it really different?
Yeah, the roadmap is the same basically. So I think this for those maybe analyzing or catalyst proposals, this is not just the actual proposals to get some extra funding. They're also a roadmap, as you said, and we will build these things regardless, right? It just the funding will just make it way easier, right? So just to complement that question, we also were so lucky to participate in GeniusX's multi-token ISPO, which has actually provided us with funding. I mean, that we can extend to keep building through the year, right? But as a business, and we actually hire full-time persons, we need to be forward-looking and ensure the security of our developers and of our creators. So, of course, being a startup, it's super rocky, and especially maybe even in this environment in the blockchain and in the Cardano is especially interesting. But so we just want to ensure the continuous development in a longer term. Anyway, if this doesn't go through, we'll just keep pushing, figure things out. We have like plans B's and C's just to ensure we keep building, because some things they just happen. You need to think long term. Even if you struggle short term, sometimes you just have to have patience and ensure that you're moving forward constantly and consistently. And with enough time, I'm sure we're gonna create an experience that is compelling to a respectable mass of people, especially because we're creating something that we personally want to play and that we love. I mean, I think Ferraz is listening right now, and we also have another developer right now, Santiago. Our team sadly had to be reduced to 3 persons, but we're these persons. I mean, we're super hardworking. At least from what I can tell from Ferraz and Santiago, they're super committed and they're super excited. We have these meetings, these design meetings, in which to actually reach the design that we actually published in the proposals. And each time we meet and we talk about them and we refine them, we get just more excited and excited. So I mean, we've talked about this. Of course, I need to be super transparent as a project lead with them. The money eventually can maybe stop, maybe and the market with crypto has been like super volatile, and there's as an entrepreneur in this ecosystem, your financials are so volatile, and so I'm super transparent with them and say like, okay, these are the amount of months that we have. I'll figure out how we get extra funding, but they're still here, like they're true adventurers. So with the support of Catalyst, we're just ensuring that we continue pushing, and otherwise we'll just find another way.
Awesome. Thanks.
As a developer, I think Epoch appreciates that you want to pay your developers.
100%. I was about to ask about how the dev team is doing, and like what kind of hours are they putting in? Are they, I don't know, anything you can tell me about the culture of the dev team? I'd be curious about.
There's well, they're full time and they're all the time like putting extra hours. Like I actually have to tell Santiago sometimes to watch his hours, because I don't want him to like burn out. But and of course Ferraz is always ensuring that we actually complete things. So I'm really grateful for the team that I have and that we have. But yeah, I mean, it's a full-time team. We work more than 40 hours a week. Of course, I only ask for a reasonable 40 hours, but as a startup and with all the excitement, sometimes we end up putting way more, right? what else can I say about it? The morale is really high right now. That's one thing that I would like to compliment. The morale is like super high. Actually, well, Ferraz and we don't live in the same city, but he's gonna come visit us because Santiago is actually from my city, and we cannot wait, to to catch some beers together, and we enjoy. Like, I think that's one of the things that I appreciate a lot from this team. We've become friends. We actually didn't knew before the project, but through the project we've become like really close friends. And yeah, definitely. That's one of the things, like, that's what happens with adventure, I guess. It's when you go through struggle with people, it makes you either closer or sets you apart. But also with Santiago, he actually, funny enough, became my neighbor. So, which has been a great experience as well, because we just, catch some beers on the weekends, and just play some video games when we take some time off. So yeah, that of course also helps. The morale is super high because you're just not going. You're creating something you believe in, and you're doing it with friends. So the best experience ever.
Funny story. I didn't know Epoch before Cardano over coffee, and now we're like multi-sig married. So there's that. I love that you guys hang out outside of building the game, right? I have a burning question. I've been staring at your PFP and that Dragon D this whole entire time, and I need to know who designed it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. I guess it's multiple person effort. So basically, the D itself, I designed it. I don't know if you remember or old logo, and this is the logo from the Drunken Dragon universe, but the logo from the Drunken Dragon Entertainment, the company, and the one we started with, it's actually on the Discord right now. It's the logo that we have on Discord, so it's basically the same D but with pixel art. That one I did with like my own, like, I would say, mediocre pixel art skills. But then David, which is an artist that we had that sadly had to go, how the market has been. But he actually created all the individual symbols. And then Luke, another artist, which also participated in the creation of the season 2. So also sadly not with the team anymore. Actually composed the whole thing. So it was a team effort.
Well, it's a hell of a great job because I really like it. I like the 3 little bubbles that are kind of like the Cardano symbol. Kind of reminds me of that, and then the whole D and the dragon. Like, I'm a dragon fan, so I love stories with dragons. So anything with a dragon always catches my eye.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I must agree. Dragons are really cool.
I mean, to me, it looks like it's dying to be a coin of some kind. Like, I want to have this in gold, like inlaid, so I can flip it, and like looks very coinable.
Like, that's the
Yeah,
head, and then there's a tail side. Yeah, I like it.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's also the logo for the Dragon Gold token, right? So if we ever actually mint physical tokens, I'll make sure to let you know.
Now you're talking my language. Dragon Gold token sounds like something I need, but I am like Brian. I'm like Hero here. I do geek out about anything dragon related and RPG related. So you guys are hitting a pretty good niche.
So what have you played, by the way, if I may, like, take that slight divergence?
I get right now I'm playing Final Fantasy 16, but Final Fantasy 7 was my first RPG of my life, so I've had to play all of them. Playing a few other games. Now I'm blanking. I've been switching through so many of them and been playing this for a month. So I don't remember which ones
He's addicted to Final Fantasy, man.
I'm in
He
it.
doesn't remember anything but Final Fantasy right
I'm
now.
in it deep. Elder Scrolls, is it? Actually, I've been playing a lot with my daughters, who are pretty young. They're like 6 years old, and I've been playing Cat Quest with them. Cat Quest 1 and Cat Quest 2. It's actually wildly fun and is like bare bones of an RPG as possible. So now any game I play with them, they're always asking me like, "Are we gonna get water shoes? Like, can we run on water?" I'm like,
Awesome.
Mine
That's great.
goes way back to EverQuest, World of Warcraft, Dungeons and Dragons, and real life person with plenty of friends every weekend. From the time I was like 13 till the time I was 21.
Oh, going back, I'm StarCraft and Diablo. If we're going back to those days, I put like 15 years into those things. Zerg was my life for some time.
Just to age myself, I'm a Neverwinter Nights guy, 1994, first online game. And then I continued with Ultima Online. I believe that started in like 96, 97, and I hardcore played that game. And then I just played pretty much every MMO from then on out.
Yeah, Ultima Online was great, and yeah, definitely. I'm personally really into MMORPGs. I've played most of them, and I still try to play a bit because I feel a bit hypocrite of creating like role-playing experiences and actually not playing them. Besides, I mean that's how I personally enjoy spending my free time. Also, like just role-playing, like physically with people. I also personally love it. I wish it was like as good as like Matthew Mercer or like these really good dungeon masters. But there's definitely something really special about doing like real role playing. So actually, one question: what do you think, guys, about like the current state of role playing games versus what the original oldies or the vanilla ones? Because I feel like it has transformed a bit. Like right now, MMORPGs and RPGs are very like mechanic oriented, and this like role playing aspect of it of of immersion has been lost a bit to like a lot of things, like including monetization schemes. Like I feel, for example, besides Ultima Online and other MMORPGs, I've played like every single World of Warcraft expansion, and of course I started with vanilla, like the original game, which hooked me up like really hard. And then I played every expansion, but every expansion has felt like it gets worse and worse, but you're just so emotionally invested that you cannot stop. And then right now it's like the experience completely different. And then I came back to classic WoW. So Blizzard actually launched the original version of WoW, and it was like, oh, it's just nostalgia. But I played again. It's like it's not just nostalgia. Nostalgia like lasts you for like maybe a week or even a day. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I relived the thing. That's it. But we actually stuck. A lot of people actually are playing right now WoW Classic because the game is actually really fun, right? It doesn't matter if it has like outdated graphics. The gameplay is like amazing. And I think a lot of the aspects that makes the original WoW great are the role-playing aspects, like the actual immersion of you feeling you're an adventurer in another world, etc. Have you guys like felt
Man,
this like evolution?
take me back to the days of the original EverQuest where I can sit in Freeport and just like sell my spells and buff people and just be somebody that I'm not in the real world. Like I'd love that basic style, right? That old school role playing, the original WoW, which was big in my life too. I would I think that trumps um the graphics, like you said, right? I would rather have that feeling. And I have gone back, not recently, but I've gone back. They've released EverQuest again, just like WoW did, and I went back and played for a few months. Now, if it was just like a reminiscing, I would have not played for 3 or 4 months.
See that, and there is a kind of an interesting evolution of games, because one of the reasons why I really like the old Ultima Online was everything was for real. If you wanted to be a pirate and rob people and take their boats,
Yeah.
boats, you could, and then you could sell it. If you killed someone and they had their house key on them, you could take their house key and rob their house. And I love like the real, like if you killed someone, you got everything that they had on them. So if they wanted to come out fully geared and they got destroyed, then you got all their stuff. So I like that there was these real life consequences to games, and that's one of the things I miss most when I play is there doesn't seem to be any real life consequences. It's all just kind of, if you die, you die. You just restart, but there's nothing to it.
That player versus player feeling, right?
Yes, but with like
Yeah.
real consequences, though. You know what I mean? Like if it's player versus player and you start the round over. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, no, where you actually lose. Where I spent 8 hours camping on this stupid dinosaur to kill to get whatever, and then you come by and just chop my head off and take it.
Yes. In fact, in Ultima Online, what you do is you would post a ghost in these camping spots where no one could see them unless they're dead, and then you would just see the people coming through and starting to farm, and you would just wait. Then you would come in with your live people. So if you're smart when you're farming, you would have like a ghost account so you could see if anybody was like watching you. So it became an interesting kind of game, but tactics really mattered then. Like you had to use teamwork, you had to think about what you were doing, you had to have a guild, you had to be organized. It was fun.
Yeah, something that has become like really popular this last, I would say, month, like recent month, is WoW Classic, but hardcore. So it's one life. If you die, you cannot rest anymore. You cannot resurrect. And I actually played it, and it's very fun. Like things that were a bit like meaningless or dull in WoW, in vanilla WoW, are actually become way more fun. And I actually lost 2 warriors, which warrior is actually the hardest to level up. In after putting like I think 30 or 40 hours to each one of them. And when you die and then you lose 40 hours of gameplay, you're like, man, those are like some real emotions.
I'd try.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and especially when it was like your mistake. Like it was like because like for example, with one of them, there was like I was doing great. I had some like really amazing loot from some dungeons, because dungeons in hardcore you can only do once, so you just need to get lucky on the drops there. So I was doing great with this warrior. Like I was getting like really nice gear. I was progressing really well, and then I got overconfident. And in one new zone there was like a rare mob, and I was like, I need to kill that guy. I'm top gear right now for my level beast. I'll just do it. And then this, worst case scenario, I just run, right? You just run. So I came to this rare monster, and he was actually too hard, right? He started doing more DPS than I could do to him. I used all my cooldowns, etc. And suddenly I was like, okay, F it. I'm not gonna make it. I'll just run. And I started running. And then this mob had a special ability that will like entangle you with some nets. And that moment in which you start like freaking out because you didn't expect it. Oh my God, that was worse. And then you're like, oh my, I'm so stupid. How could I take that risk?
Man, that's funny. That's horrible, but so funny because I could see it happening to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh man, so we've kind of reached our time here. Anything that anybody wants to make sure that we get out drunken? Anything that we didn't cover or talk about? Make sure, folks, that you go. Lightdonation.com is the place to check out proposals. It's much easier for you to navigate than IdeaScale. So I always suggest going to Light Nation. They have these amazing bookmarks. Go in, type in Drunken Dragon in the search in the Catalyst. It'll bring up all 4 of their proposals. You can just click bookmark and then come back and read up on them whenever you get a chance later on. But Vladik, anything else that you want to make sure that we tell everybody?
Well, so much, but I guess the real thing I want to say right now is thank you to our community and to the Cardano community. It's been tough, definitely, but I was talking about how I made friends within the developer team, but I have also met friends within the space. For example, there's the terahertz here, and our community is really great. They're super supportive, and we even thought our final goal is to build or to do or to achieve. The whole experience gets real when you're sharing it with real people. So I'm just glad to be here, and I just want to thank all the support from the community and just for being there and for being part of the adventure. It's even if everything fails, even if everything goes to zero, even if we don't achieve anything that we ought to achieve, just sharing this adventure already makes it one of the best life experiences that I've had. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, and I enjoyed your story of how you sacrificed 40 hours of your time for nothing. You made my day, just so that you know. Sorry for your sacrifice. Naheed, anything that you want to touch base on? Anything going on with GeniusX that we want to make sure everybody's aware of?
Oh, at the moment, I mean, from our side, of course, there are always some changes, some stuff going on. Also we have a couple of Project Catalyst proposals. I mean, namely 3. I would suggest if you have free time, feel free to go through them. I know that overall, I think it's no problem that we all face that there are so many proposals, and you need to distinguish the ones which have quality, which have not have quality. So I personally find it quite difficult. I'm trying to read, come up with something, but that's kind of a challenge that I think we'll face. I would say if you have if you have a time, please feel free to read it. And in case you hear or you have also interesting projects, just let us know. We are always on the lookout on the new projects, new kind of teams to work with together. So I'm always happy also to receive such requests, and also happy to have a call or a short email conversation. Anyway, I can do that with anybody. So I'm always personally also on the lookout for that. But I would say for now that's it, and thank you all. Also, thank you for your time. It was also quite interesting and fun discussions here.
Yeah, I had fun. How about you, Michael? Did you enjoy it? Anything you want to say other than goodbye?
Yeah, I definitely had some fun. So besides the Genius Yield Catalyst proposals that you just mentioned, I'd also encourage you guys to go to Lido Nation and look at Fluid Tokens. Fluid Tokens has 2 proposals. Igon has a proposal. Maestro has 4 proposals. Smart Places has a proposal. DropSpot has a proposal. There's a lot of good stuff out there. A lot that will help create a great dev experience that will help kind of expand the ecosystem. So please give them a look, and if you like them, bookmark them, and we appreciate your consideration.
Yeah, man, that Light Donations tool has saved my life, especially with the bookmarks that he's got going on now. So if you haven't done that and you want to start researching some projects that you may want to vote on, I suggest using Lido Nation over Idea Scale. That's my preference. You may like to navigate Idea Scale. I, however, do not. Don't tell Daniel Rebar. He will probably beat me up. But I want to thank Drunken Dragon Entertainment, Nahid, Low Tech. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I had fun.
Yeah,
And thank you for hosting. I definitely had a lot of fun. I wish we had like another 5 hours just to speak games and ecosystem and what's going on. But yeah, we have to continue building, I guess. Thank you for hosting. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I had fun.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Later, everybody.
Cheers. Bye.